Hi, we're going to walk through how to make music videos for basically free. They're uncensored and you can tweak to your liking. We're going to be using MultiTalk on Wan2GP. Let's get going. We need a song, so we're just going to make one really quickly on 11 Labs' new offering, jinglemaker.ai, where you just give it a link to a website and it generates a short song for you. It's not going to be a musical masterpiece, but it will work for our testing purposes. So we're actually just going to give it the repo of Wan2GP and see what it produces. To download the song, you just have to give it any email address. You can make a temp email address. It works. You don't actually have to be a sales lead or pay anything. The download is free. So now that we have our song, we want to go to a site where we can split the vocals from the instruments, because it's going to be very important to give the AI model just the vocals so that it can lip sync accurately. I've been using Moises.ai. It works quite well. There are plenty of similar sites you could use, but it splits out the vocals for you and is free. Just click Open Moises and then Upload, and then drag in the song you want to split. Select Vocals, Instrumentals, and Submit. And then you have your split out tracks and you can export. Export all channels, and there you go. To create a character for your music video, you can use a free Hugging Face space like the FluxDev LoRa serverless. And in here, you can just come in as long as you have a Hugging Face account and create images for free. You'll be limited on a daily basis, but it does work and it's a great way to test models as well. So here, we're going to create a prompt for an alien character, and you can use ChatGPT or your favorite LLM of choice to create a good prompt versus what you might do manually. And that's what I did here. I came up with this prompt with a little help from my LLM friend. And you're going to want to come in advanced settings and change the dimensions to what you want for a vertical video. Like for TikTok, we want 1080 by 1920. So just put that in there, and then you can click Generate Image. And what's cool is you get to see it denoising over time. And there we have a character. Once you have a character you like, go ahead and download it. And then once you have one view of your character, we can go into a different Hugging Face space, the Flux Context space. And in this one, you can give it images and tell it to create other images based on it and editing them. What we're going to do is we're going to take our image and get images from other perspectives of the same character. This way, when we're creating our video, we can have shots from different angles. So I played around and came up with a character that I wanted to work with. So let me drag that in here. And we have our alien character. And I'm going to want some zoomed in shots. So let me just say zoom in. Let's keep the defaults. Say zoom in on the alien. Click run. Right, so now we have the same character, but from a different perspective. We can see that it's zoomed in. So I'm going to make a few more angles, and then we can go ahead and generate our music video. To make our music video, we're going to be using a project called Wan2GP. It's an open source project where the developer takes open source video and image generation models and makes them really efficient to run on lower VRAM, so you can run it on your own machine or in the cloud for cheap. I do not have an NVIDIA GPU, so I run in RunPod. I have a separate video to take you step by step how to run in RunPod if you want to take that route. It ends up costing about 40 cents per hour to run, which is pretty cheap. It's a fraction of the cost of creating one video with VO3, and that's an hour of time where you can play around. Also, if you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can run locally, and there are tutorials on how to install it locally. Okay, to make our singing video in Wan2GP, we're going to open it up. We're going to select Base MultiTalk Fusion IX 14 billion parameters. This, I believe, is in process of being updated to 2.2, but right now we have the 2.1, which works quite well, and hopefully the 2.2 will work similarly. So we go and we select Reference Image, Inject Only People and Objects. Then we're going to drag in our image. There we have our alien singer. It's going to be singing our song. Very important to keep the background. I have not had good results when removing the background. I think it's important to give the model as much information as you can to guide it, and the background is helpful in guiding it. Otherwise, it's going to create kind of a hazard background. We're doing one speaker only because we're doing a song sung by one person. We're going to pull in the vocals only. We're going to pull the vocal track that we split out. Important to just do the vocals because otherwise it will confuse the model with the musical instrument sounds as well. And we're going to do this in pieces so that we can check on what's going on, and also so that it doesn't get boring. We can do the shots from different angles and continue on the song that way. So we're going to right in here, easily enough, there's a tool to trim the audio. So we're going to do a nice segment that kind of makes sense to do at once. So we're going to drag that to where we have that gap in the vocals at least. And we're going to hit trim. So now we have our 8 seconds. Based on the 8 seconds, we're going to change the number of frames. It's 25 frames per second. So with 8 seconds, we want to set this to 200. And we want 9:16 to match our image. And I had to iterate quite a lot on this prompt. It wanted to change the alien a bit, so I gave it a lot of guidance to reinforce the image. I say the pretty female alien dances. She has a sleek, futuristic, yet playful design with glowing accents, big expressive eyes, and a friendly smile. She is wearing a dress and high heels. She has a subtly glowing design on her forehead. There's a retro mic standing in front of the alien. The disco ball above her head rotates. She lip syncs to the song. When there is no sound, she does not move her lips. The lip sync is very accurate. Before I added the part about the prompt with the disco ball, it was moving the disco ball as she sang rather than rotating it. So adding in these details does help, and you should basically iteratively work on your videos and see what the issues are and try to prompt to push the model where you want it to go. So we're going to leave it at 10 steps. That's the default. We're going to change the seed so we remember if we want to generate again. Audio guidance, because I want the lip sync to be quite tight, I'm going to change it, move it all the way up to 12. I'm not going to change the guidance at all from 1. Keep in mind, at 1, negative prompts don't work at all unless you set a nag level, but I am not going to use any negative prompting. I'm just going to pump up the audio guidance. We don't have any pose that we're using here, so we don't need to change the control net weights. I'm not doing any negative prompting. Been trying to play with the nag scale, which I believe is normalized attention guidance, but I haven't been having great luck with it so far, so we're going to leave that as it is. We're going to look back at what we've done. Oh, we're going to add some step skipping just to accelerate it a bit. We do the mad cache, which is the newer type of cache to accelerate. And I believe that is all we have to do to get the first part of our music video going. So let's click generate. The first time you run, it has to download the model if it hasn't been downloaded. So it will take longer than normal. If you already have it downloaded, it just has to load. There, we're complete in 10 minutes and 11 seconds. This is on an A40 in RunPod, and let's see the first segment.
Get your vision on the go with AI.
Not bad. Not bad. Let's download that, and let's move on to the second piece of the song. I'm going to change the image to another image of the same alien. So there's a zoomed in alien. And otherwise, we want to reverse the trim we did and do a new trim continuing on from about there because we caught that part of the song. And we want more of a natural break to make it easier to edit together later. So let's try to extend to there and do 15 seconds. Let's trim that. Well, since we're at 15, we want 375 frames. We're not showing her feet in this, so let's get rid of the high heels from the prompt. And we want more singing here, so let's say the pretty female alien sings. Otherwise, I think the 12 audio guidance was good. Could play with going a little higher, but let's continue on in the generation. There we have our second part. Let's see how it turned out.
Open source AI magic runs on just 6 gigs of RAM. Light on your GPU from RTX 10XX to 20XX. Low on 2.1 flux, LTX and more easy. Mass editor, prompt enhancer, web tools that shine. Cue your batch and watch your visions align.
Not bad. It's a little jittery, so this might be a good opportunity to play with negative prompting and say jittery or jerky movements, and then up the nag scale to something like 10. But for right now, I'm going to continue on making further snippets of the song. One thing I also wanted to show is how you can make the character dance to a control video. So let me demo that piece. What you're going to do is you're going to select transfer human motion, and we want our reference image to be we want the background image, we want our alien character. So when we say transfer human motion, we're going to want area processed whole frame. We're not going to want to keep any part of the control video other than the motion. So in order to do that, we do whole frame. There's a bunch of different options, and I tried a number of these. I masked the control video and saw what broke through into the final result, and too much broke through. I basically only wanted the motion, so that's why whole frame worked the best for this use case. We're still going to inject only people and objects from our reference image. We're going to take a control video on pexels.com. They have a bunch of videos that are people dancing that you can use for this purpose. So I just found one that I thought was a nice dance that sort of goes to the song. So pull that in here, and then we're going to want to switch out for our reference image. I want the zoomed out version so we can see her feet. There we go. We want to keep the background. We still have only one person speaking. Let's go to the end of our song so we can have a grand finale dance. Let's do 10 seconds or so of a dance. So let's say that the female alien sings and dances. Let's get her heels back on her. And since this is 10 seconds, we'll do 250. 10 inference steps. And otherwise, everything else can be the same. So the result should have the movements of the dance and lip motion to the song. So let's see how it goes. First thing it's going to do now is extract an open pose from this control video. So this is a little different from the workflow when we don't have a control video. And down here, the preview, you'll be able to see the open pose. So there we have it. So this is what it just created. We can see that it created this open pose from the control video, and that is what will get transferred to our result. And let's see what it produced.
Get your vision on the go with AI.
It ended up generating from the beginning of the song because I failed to trim it. And remember, at the beginning of the song, there is no vocal, so there is just the dancing. We see that it distorted the character a bit, so it was much better when it was just straight lip syncing. With the motion control, I think it's much more reliant on the prompting versus the image. So it's a sacrifice. If you want to control the posing, the prompting becomes much more important and finicky. So I threw all of the video pieces that we generated into a video editor, added in the full song with the vocals in instrumentals, and this is what it looks like.
Get your vision on the go with AI. Open source AI magic runs on just 6 gigs of RAM. Light on your GPU from RTX 10XX to 20XX. Low on 2.1 flux, LTX and more with ease. Mass editor, prompt enhancer, web tools that shine. Cue your batch and watch your visions align. Wan2GP, your video dreams set free. Fast on modding cards, works on legacy. Wan2GP, Wan2GP. Join us on GitHub, explore and create. Wan2GP.
Unlikely to win any awards, but it was fun to make, and you can see some different techniques, and we can improve different cuts of it to make an even better video, especially getting some of the dancing pieces in there. Thanks for watching.